Oh snap, Glaze is going live.
Just got my copy of Beyond Lucky by Brian Glaze Gibbs. Thank you so much for sending me my personalized autographed copy. I've had the pleasure of knowing you for a long time, so I'm really excited to get to know some of your stories and what made you you and how this redemption came about. I know you're a changed man, and I'm looking forward to seeing the whole process of how it happened.
Bostic will never forget what the judge said.
When you get hit like that, it's a wake-up call.
Mr. Bostic, you made your choice, you will live with your choice, and you will die with your choice, because Bobby Bostic, you will die in the Department of Corrections. No one in this room will be alive in the year 2201.
That day in the courtroom, I feel like I was threw away, and it's like, I can't be threw away.
With an associate's degree and currently working on his bachelor's, Bobby has already served 24 years in prison. He'll be eligible for parole when he's 112 years old for charges that include armed criminal action, robbery, and assault. Over the years, Bobby has seen convicted murderers released from prison while he remains locked up.
And Bobby didn't kill anybody. There are youngsters who killed people who are out. He's still in. Nobody died that night.
His now retired judge is petitioning Missouri legislators to overturn her sentence.
I believe I gave you like 241 years, which is kind of like about 8 life sentences. And I don't know why they can't see that maybe he should be eligible for parole. He was a juvenile. He was 16 years old.
Bobby fears without a change in the law or clemency from the Missouri governor, he'll be the lone fatality from the worst night of his life.
The American Civil Liberties Union worked endlessly with Bostic to get him parole, and 5 on Your Side's Travis Cummings went to Jefferson City to capture his first glimpse of freedom.
I am Bobby Bostic, and I stand here a free man today.
It's a chance to rewrite his story.
I take responsibility for the crimes that I committed 27 years ago when I was just a kid.
43-year-old Bobby Bostic stands on the steps of the Missouri State Capitol, grateful. When he was 16, Bostic and an 18-year-old man robbed several individuals in St. Louis, but no one was seriously hurt. He was sentenced to 241 years behind bars.
How can Mr. Bostic be sitting in prison without eligibility for parole until he is 112 years old?
In 2010, the Supreme Court of the United States held in Graham versus Florida that it is unconstitutional to sentence a juvenile to life without the possibility of parole for non-homicidal crimes. The American Civil Liberties Union of Missouri stepped in 2017 to challenge the justice system, but was denied. A year later, Judge Evelyn Baker, who sentenced Bostic all those years ago, became his ally.
I learned about brain development and realized what an injustice I had done to a 16-year-old child.
The ongoing fight led to state statute providing a parole hearing after 5 years to Bostic and about 100 others serving time. During his time in prison, Bostic got his GED, became a published author, and immersed himself in restorative justice.
My brother has gone from a troubled teenager, battling addictions, to an intelligent, educated man, faith seeking to help others.
His plan now, to touch the hearts of troubled young people, to reassure them there's a better path.
Once you find your life purpose, you can
Good day, good day, good day. Once again, y'all, thank you for joining me. Hey, just in case you're joining me for the very first time, guess what? I'm your host, the one they call Brian Glaze Gibbs. This is my ministry. What I do is I talk about the good, I talk about the bad, I talk about the ugly from an educational standpoint to get the younger generation to understand that there's no shortcut in life. Only thing come fast is trouble. Easy to get into, hard to get out. And a lot of times right now is, guess what? By making a bad decision at an early age, guess what? It can be very, very costly. You can make the wrong decision by being in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. And you can get yourself caught up into a situation that, guess what? You can't get out. And even with that being said, like I say, I was that person at one time. I used to be a problem. Now what I'm seeking to do is, how do I become part of the solution? Listen, Hit the like button, subscribe, share. Today, what I'm talking about, I'm going to talk about this gentleman. You know what? What happened to him right now when he was young? Guess what? He got into a world of trouble. And what happened right now was he got his world rocked. He committed some crime. And the judge threw the book at him. 16 years old, and imagine getting sentenced to 241 years. You know what? All hopes are lost. You talking about you get sentenced at 16 years old, getting sentenced to 241 years. She might well gave him life because that's what it is, 241 years. So this is a story. Bobby Bostic, 42, sentenced to 241 years as a teen, granted parole after judge changed stance. Bobby Bostic, a St. Louis man who was sentenced to a total of 241 years on 18 charges in 1997 for a robbery committed in 1995, has been granted parole after the judge who sentenced him retired and advocated for a change in his sentence. Bostic was 16 in December 1985 when he and Donald Houston, 18 at the time, robbed a group of people of Christmas present being donated to a local family in need. Prosecutors say both men fired guns at the group, causing minor injury before stealing another woman's car and robbing her. Houston agreed to a plea deal to spend 30 years in prison, while Bostic decided to go to trial. By the time of his sentence in 1997, Circuit Judge Evelyn Baker said she did not believe Bostic could be rehabilitated and ruled that his 241 years of sentence were to be served one after the other. The sentence meant Bostic wouldn't be eligible for parole until he was at least 112 years old, essentially guaranteeing he would die in prison. Missouri Parole Board granted parole to Bostic Monday, and he will be released next November, according to one of his key advocates, the American Civil Liberty Union of Missouri. Baker eventually retired from the bench, and in 2018 wrote an essay in the Washington Post that say she regretted the sentence, advocating for it to be thrown out so he could receive parole. She said the development and medical study of the brain of young people over the past 20 years gave her a new perspective into how crime committed by young people don't always indicate future behavior because their brains are still developing and more likely to be rehabilitated. Baker said at the time that she intended for Bostic to die in the Department of Correction. Bostic, for a while, found hope in a 2010 U.S. Supreme Court ruling that outlawed the life sentences for people under 18 for non-homicide crime. The Supreme Court, however, declined to hear his case in 2019. What I learned too late is that the young people's brains are not static. They are in the process of maturing, Baker wrote in her essay. Then, the U.S. Supreme Court denied his case. The ACLU, working with the Missouri legislature to pass a law based on Bostic's case that allowed teen in prison essentially for life for crime other than murder to get a parole board review after 15 years. The Missouri Department of Correction on Tuesday confirmed that Bostic is set to be released from prison. Okay? And right now, even with that being said, he was released on November 9th. And right now, even with that being said, this man got the opportunity to come back to society for something that he did. He committed an act, saying that when he was 16. Right now guess what? He is now, 43 years old? And to me, folks, listen, second chance, redemption, change. A lot of times when you incarcerated and you locked down in no jail cell, all you have to do, you only thing you have time to do is think. Some people right now, they don't think. They get caught up into that knucklehead stuff. They want to play basketball. They want to gamble. They want to drink. They want to get high. But then you got some people take advantage of that. The law library, like Terrence Gangster Williams. That's why he's out. You got some people right now like Bobby Bostic. They take advantage of it. You got some people right now where, listen, man, I understand what they say, but that's not my final destiny. I am not going to spend the rest of my life in jail. And you know what? a lot of times people don't understand people do change. People do change. Even the fact right now is, guess what? From the age of 14 to 24, my whole outlook, my whole perspective, my whole, like way of doing things have changed dramatically. And people don't understand. Like everybody like, well, how do you know you changed? I knew when I changed, the closer it got for me to be released. And for the first time in my life, from being in and out of the penal system, for the first time in my life, when I was getting out in 1997, I was like, I was kind of afraid. And folks like, why? I said, because once again, here it is beforehand. I had the mindset. I had the attitude. I had that mentality. If anything come my way or any trouble come my way, I know how to handle it. I know right now when somebody do something to me or my family or whatever, I know how to get my bulletproof vest, how to get my gun, how to go fix the problem. Now, this time, when it got close to me being released, I was afraid because I realized that I couldn't turn to the gun. I couldn't turn to the bulletproof vest. I had to pick up the telephone like every other law-abiding citizen and call law enforcement and say, I have a problem. And you know what? I was like, wow. I was in awe because once again, that told me then I changed. Because right now, back then, when you got that criminal mentality, you do not think like that under any circumstance. So like I said right now, man, folks, listen, anybody can change, but you got to want to change, and change comes from within. And sometimes, most importantly, change comes from pain. Shout out to Bobby Bostic. Right now, shout out to Evelyn Baker, the judge. Shout out to the ACLU for helping them or whatever. And like I say, folks, listen, man, in life, I don't care how bleak your life may seem to be, how over it might be total darkness. It might look like it's over with, but right now, guess what? You got to remember that Marvin Sapp song, he saw the best in me when nobody else did. Anytime somebody counts you out, guess what happened? God is there to pick you up. Only thing you need is a mustard seed. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you only need is faith as small as a mustard seed, and all things is possible. Hey, hit the like button, subscribe, share. Peace, love, and prosperity. One love.
Natural endurance, stamina,